Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. Okay, as they say, the road is paved with good intentions. Sad to say, good intentions don't really get things done. Our first guest is giving us a hall pass because at least when it comes to the resolution to get healthy and fit, many times that road is paved with deception. Here with some great food for thought and how to negotiate the grocery store aisles is certified clinical nutritionist Keith Klein with the Institute of Eating Management. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for coming. I've known you for probably 21 years
it's been a long
now.
time.
You were a trailblazer in that whole food game, and someone I was with the other day said you really opened a lot of doors and opened a lot of minds when it comes to food, starting with even having labeling on food.
Right. So look, when labels are the guidelines by which we have to choose foods. Well, if the very guidelines are misleading, deceitful, how could Americans ever choose healthy foods?
Right.
So in America, people are deluded all the time. You know, you walk into a health food store, you're walking to a health food store, not an unhealthy food store, right?
Yeah, right.
And yet there's many unhealthy things there in the wrong person's body.
Or we don't know what we're getting. We'll get a little bit more into supplements a little bit later, but I remember you were one of the first people to go in and pull some supplements off the shelf and have them tested.
That's right.
And what did you find oftentimes?
Well, we found, for example, there was a fat burner being sold, and it was called lipokinetics, and it contained something called sodium eucinate, which has been banned out of Germany, right? But yet it was being used in this product, and it should have never been put in there. 8 people died of acute liver failure after taking it, and countless hundreds of other people had permanent liver damage.
Wow.
So again, you know, when we go out to buy a supplement or even a food, you know, all we have to depend on is the label.
Right.
But we also have to, and this is something you can never know, is do we trust the vendor? Who's the manufacturer behind that? What violations
There
have
was
they
some stuff
had
that came out of China where it was like what lead was used around to color the pill itself or something?
Well, here's what's fascinating about the supplement industry today. There is a very high level of lead in a lot of supplements, which is not being put in from the manufacturers here in America. It's actually coming from the people who buy the raw ingredients, right, from China because they get them cheap. And because they never removed lead in their gas, it's coming back down in their environment, so the raw earths are polluted with lead. There was a supplement that was an everyday, especially complete for women, being sold that was found to have 18 milligrams of lead per tablet. Now, the danger of that is if you're pregnant and you're taking this as a multivitamin, the developing fetus couldn't survive.
Yeah.
But it was on the market for 2 years before they uncovered that.
Wow. Another thing you did was you went in to see how certain things were really made.
Yeah.
And I never forgot when you said, when you do a turkey sandwich, for example, does it look like the turkey that you have on the Thanksgiving Day table?
Right. 2
different textures, completely 2 different colors.
Yeah, so what you think of when you walk into a deli and a man's slicing something behind the deli for you, your perception is that's different than what's in the package.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as in the package, it's just shot in a different mold and reshaped so it looks like it's fresh.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go, I would never eat that packaged lunch meat. Well, they get it behind the deli, they don't realize it is the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, losing weight. It's one of the biggest goals that people have. We do every year. And if you didn't make your New Year's resolution last year, you said, okay, I'll wait till next year. So we had a whole year of eating more and gaining more weight. A lot of us, though, put losing weight in the aesthetic category. You've always approached it from obviously the health category. If you do the right thing, the aesthetics will come.
Yeah, what I think people really need to understand is that small changes, so long as they're sustainable, create massive results over the course of time.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to say to somebody, you can't have red meat or you can't have, right? What does everybody do when they start a diet?
Yeah.
Okay, no more red meat, no more fried food.
I'll have a piece of cardboard today with a sprinkle of salt.
Right. What I want to look at is, look, how many days a week do you normally eat red meat? If somebody said 4, I'd say, well, could you do it 1 or 2? And if they can commit to that change, then we start doing other little changes. Then over the course of time, they're losing weight, getting in shape, and they don't have to give up their favorite foods.
And that's your encouragement. Okay, you say there are 4 factors that affect weight loss, food obviously being one.
Yeah, there's really only 4. It's your diet, it's your exercise, it's a drug that you've been put on because there are partitioning effects from medications such as prednisones, or it's a hormone.
Yeah.
And you see, if we have somebody that we're working with where we put them on the correct eating protocol and they're not losing, the first thing we go to is blood workup.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I had a battle after having my son with my thyroid. And I think a lot of us who are dealing with weight issues have gone for your physical, and the doctor goes, okay, so are we eating a little more? You're like, no, I promise I'm not. They're like, sure you're not, right? But when you test those hormones, that gives you the level playing field to now make those small changes that count. Okay.
And I should mention something along that hormone line, is that a lot of doctors are there for general wellness, right? We really want to have specified blood workup because there's things like after a pregnancy that doctors, I think, after maybe a year should go back and run the blood to see what all the female hormones are. Because there's something called hyperprolactinemia. even in the absence of breast milk development, that if you have it, you will not lose weight.
Yeah.
And then the doctor just administers a medication called Dostinex, and the weight just pummels off.
Oh, wow. What did I know about that? Okay. Moving into some of the foods, even though they have the labels on them, the whole bit, there are kind of deceptive choices for a lot of us because we don't know how to read what's going on. So take us through some of these things where you think we need to be a little bit more aware of what we're buying.
All right. So for example, how many people would go into the grocery store and buy ground turkey, 7% fat, and believe this is a low-fat choice?
Yeah, it says 93% lean, 7% fat.
Yeah. This has the same fat content as T-bone steak. This product is 45% fat. In other words, if you wouldn't eat T-bone steak to get lean, why would you eat this thinking you're doing better?
Yeah. Tell us why that math is not seeming to add up.
That 7% refers to the product's fat by weight, not its fat by calories.
Okay.
And let me just put it to you another way. We don't discuss food by weight. We discuss it by calories, right? So if you came in and said, Keith, I ate 7 pounds of fat, 6 pounds of carbohydrates, and 7 pounds of protein, I had no idea what you're talking about. We don't discuss food by weight. We discuss it by calories. So this refers to the product's fat by weight. Is all that 7% is telling you when you turn it over is that there's 8 grams of fat in a serving. Okay. Well, why does that, right? I could have looked at the label and knowing that. But how many people look at that thinking it's a low-fat food?
Right, and 8 grams per serving, and then of course you have to look at what a serving is. Is a serving a teaspoon, or is it a, you know what, right?
Now this might confuse people, but look, a serving is 112 grams times 0.07 equals 8. So there's 8 grams of fat in a serving. That's all that's telling you. Okay, now, notice something. Notice this one is suddenly more than happy to tell you it's the breast. If you don't see the word breast on the label, it's not. You got to make sure that's there. So even though this says 1% fat, this is actually 13% fat, which is under 20. It's a good food. Yeah. But you have to see the word breast. Now, how many people would look for the word extra lean or lean?
Yeah,
right. Now, those don't really have any denotion as to whether it's low fat. So the term lean simply means that the food will have 10 grams of fat or less per serving. The term extra lean means it'll have 5 grams of fat, and that doesn't equate to the percentage of fat of the food at all.
Yeah, and then you always have to get back to what's your serving size,
but check this out. Okay, how many people go into a restaurant and get a turkey burger and have no clue it's higher in fat than the hamburgers?
No, because they're thinking they're being much healthier. I think it was somewhere along the way we decided that chicken was much more lean than beef was, not necessarily.
Breast meat, about 13% fat. This is 45. This is 60% fat. Wow. Bacon is only 62.
Okay.
If I wouldn't eat bacon, why am I eating these burgers expecting to lose weight?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna eat the bacon. Okay. Right. Okay. There are things that have reduced fat on it, and that immediately draws a lot of us to it. And we think, okay, we're gonna do. It's a better bad choice, right?
There you go.
But we say reduced fat. I first want to talk a little bit about fat, because fat doesn't necessarily make you fat. It doesn't actually make fat, does it, in the body?
We don't want to confuse people into thinking fats are bad. We all need a certain amount of fat, grams of protein, and carbs, right? The question becomes, how much do you need? Which is predicated on the type of exercise you do and what you tell me you want to have happen. So my long-distance runners need more fat, right? So all foods are converted to fat. If you eat more protein than your body can use, it's converted to fat. Okay. So all foods are.
Yeah. All right. So, but this is another thing. When it says reduced fat, we think, okay, good. But we're not paying attention to the fact that it may be reduced fat, but these are also carbs.
Yeah, and processed at that. Right, and because they're processed, it's basically flour and salt and fat. That's all that is. And
now,
so
I'm not going to say these don't taste good.
And I'm not going to say don't eat them. Right, it's a better or bad choice. But I'm saying, you know, anything in moderation. Let's go back to this one, because this is crazy, right? How many people would believe that eating turkey bacon is better than bacon?
I think most people think it's better than pork bacon.
Now, if this is 62% fat and this is 71% fat, and you wouldn't eat bacon at 62, why are you eating at 71% expecting a different outcome?
Right.
Couldn't occur.
Right. Okay.
So people need to be aware that when we switch to turkey sausage and turkey bacon, they're often higher in fat than their pork counterparts.
You have to do your homework. You have to, look at the numbers and things that are on there. Okay. Unsweetened is another, which if it's unsweetened.
Sure. Okay, now look at. So why would somebody put this in a protein shake? How much protein's in a serving? How many grams?
This is 1 gram.
Okay, so it's pretty low in protein, but normal milk would have 12 grams, right? Like Mootopia.
Yeah.
So I'd rather put that in my protein shake than this. But look, how many calories are coming from fat?
30.
Out of?
40. Oh,
That's
yeah.
75% fat.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, you know, this is not the healthiest thing to put in a protein shake if you're trying to drop body fat. But
Yeah.
let me clarify something. This is great to use if you're thin, you don't have a weight problem, and you want to have that, right?
Yeah.
But don't delude yourself into thinking pouring this into a protein shake benefits the shake itself.
Yeah.
Now, who might benefit from that would be a long-distance runner, because they require more fat in their diet.
Yeah, well, that's not me. All right. And it seems like a lot of things, and we pay attention to the buzzword, which is, again, is another thing that you want people to be aware of in an industry, that you look at that buzzword that could be healthier for you, but it makes you kind of ignore what else is going on.
Yes.
When it comes to things like, I remember when they decided fat was evil back in the 90s, we did baked chips, for example.
Yes.
These are baked chips with Olestra, with no fat in them.
Right.
And one of the things that you said when they started removing a lot of trans fats, you said you have to ask the next question. If they're removing the trans fats, that's good, but what are they replacing it with?
Okay, so what a lot of these companies do not want consumers to know is that when you take a carbohydrate and you bake it, you create a compound called acrylamide. And acrylamide is known to be a carcinogen. And what we're concerned about as nutritionists, and what we were looking at around the nation, is trying to get them to put acrylamide contents on the label, which the FDA refuses to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you also have to remember, you got different agencies regulating different products, which
Right.
come up with different terms. So the USDA regulates this, right? The FDA will regulate this, okay? And then the Tobacco, Alcohol, and Firearms regulates alcohol labels.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got completely different terminology going on between 3 different organizations.
Okay, we have more food questions. We're going to take a break. When we come back, like, for example, red wine versus white wine, or Diet Coke versus, like, regular Coke.